Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. If this is your first time stopping by Doc's Autos, thank you. If you're returning for more fun here, thank you. Today we are working on Darren's 440 out of his Challenger, and I'd like to put it in a better spot, but the concrete floor is cracked and heaved and I can't get the engine stand over the break in the concrete, so here we are. What we're going to start doing is getting this cleaned up and dressed up. Now, you're looking at the back end of it where it should be that 727 transmission. That is in the back of the Ford, waiting to go to the transmission shop whenever I get a chance to. We're not going to need it in the next week or four, so not in a huge hurry. With the engine, we're not doing really any major mechanical work to it. The engine runs. When we pulled it out of the car, Darren was kind of going over the stories. This is the third engine in that Challenger. And he said it's probably got, well, he said I've probably put more miles on it here, going back and forth between the shop and the garage, than he put on it 20 years ago when he dropped the engine in. So if this engine's got 50 miles on it, he'd be surprised. So what we are going to do is, of course, get everything cleaned up, all the grime and crud off of here. We are going to put new engine mounts on. Everything is out, and these may be newish 20 years ago, but for the small cost, we'll put brand new ones in and go with that. We are going to take these obnoxious long tube headers that are, I think, in the trunk right now. We're going to get those dressed up, painted black with header paint wrapped and put back on the car here. So those will be a little less of an eyesore to look at. The oil pan is going to get replaced. That has a big, it kind of looks like this underneath. Darren said he may have tried to lift it by that at one point in time. But so that's going to come off, get a new gasket resealed, make sure the whatchamacallit, the baffle thing in there is the windage tray. Make sure that is not damaged. Should be just fine. And make sure there isn't anything else we aren't expecting in there. No little shinies or anything like that. Yeah, so nothing huge. Nothing, it's already got a mild cam in there, he said. He wants to repaint the valve covers. Nothing special with these. Maybe at some point he'll replace them, I don't know, aluminum heads, who knows. But for now, we're just gonna get everything cleaned up, paint it that nice Hemi orange that he's looking for, and then drop it back in the sublime green engine bay once we get that repainted and repaired. Now at the front, nothing too big. Again, it's just dirty. New hoses, we'll probably throw in a new thermostat, a new temperature sensor. These cooling line hoses, I don't believe, are supposed to be galvanized nipples. Somebody can correct me, but I don't think those are correct. Somewhere in here, we got to find how to put on the air conditioning. Darren would like air conditioning back in this car. The 318 had it, but we don't have provisions right now for it on this 440. But there's a pile of parts down in the shop, he thinks, will cobble together an AC system for this car. So that is our goal there. We did put on a new cap and rotor last year and new plug wires. Plug wires may go away. We'd like to find something that fits in these headers a little better. But again, that's for another day. But again, just get everything cleaned up. It's crusty. And to kick off the cleaning process, we've got a good old can of the superclean engine degreaser, foamy stuff. They sent this out to me, and I've been using it. Used it a lot on the Bobcat. If you saw, I just changed the oil in that a few weeks ago, and did kind of a basic cleanup. Stuff works great. So we're just gonna sort of bathe this thing in this wonderful stuff in the purple can, and use our little tornado thing, water, air, and knock as many of the chunks off of here as we can. And once that is done, I'm going to come back probably with a wire wheel or a wire cup and try and knock the rest of the chunks off of here just so we can go ahead and get that Eastwood high temp engine paint shot on here. I opted to go for the 2-part versus a rattle can. I just think the rattle cans have their place, but for an engine and everything is out, I think we can do a better job with the spray gun, and hopefully it'll last a little bit longer too. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to tape off the exhaust on both sides, and then we'll come back and get this thing lathered up, drop into a little time-lapse goodness, and see if we can't knock some of the chunks off. Oh, and while I'm doing that, up here is a playlist for all the other stuff we've done with the Challenger. Lots of panel replacements, bodywork, roof replacement. I think we're going to end up doing, well, 1 quarter panel for sure, maybe both. We'll see. We were sent the wrong quarter panel, and I don't know if they're going to want me to ship it back at $160 shipping. If that's the case, hopefully we get to keep it, and we can just replace both quarter panels. Anyways, that's a topic for down the road. Again, playlist up here. Alrighty, so I've got a head blocked off roughly, loosely. Exhaust ports, both sides. Did a quick pull out the plugs and quick scoped the cylinders with my MaxiSys, and they look okay. I'm gonna send pictures over to Darren. Only one of them back here was a little ring, a little bit of a rust ring from my just sitting, but you know what, it sat here and run a number of times without issue. So aside from brand new plugs being sort of carboned up, which I can probably attribute to just not running, being tuned, looked okay. I didn't see anything horribly out of shape, out of whack in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those other 4 plugs back in on the driver's side and just slather up the backside with the engine cleaner and just start going to it. Alrighty, well, the first pass here doesn't look too bad. After all, it's 20 years of scuzz. I think I'm gonna hit it again and just come and work at it with a toothbrush. Don't tell the wife. And see if we can get a little more cleaning done. We do have to go ahead and paint up the new oil pump put on last year. That apparently was not coated very well from the vendor. Otherwise, yeah, we're not taking the heads off. I don't know that we are taking off the intake. I would like to, just to replace any gasketing that needs to be redone and then clean out down here in the valley. That seems a little gunky to me. Then I can get that painted up too, because I pull off the carb and you know, a little bit of discoloration here from age, heat, something. But you know, it is cleaning up. We'll need to get more cleaned up, of course, and the front, of course, is another story. I'm gonna see if he wants me to pull off the water pump assembly and clean behind there. That's sort of a whole other mess of stuff to get into. Again, we're kind of peeling back that onion. How far do you go? Again, we'll get these brackets cleaned up and repainted as well, and figure out what needs to be done to get the air conditioning on. Of course, power steering is not really even tight. So yeah, I'm just gonna slather it up with another round of stuff and get going on the cleaning. I'm not gonna bring you along for that because, well, if you're not asleep yet, that would definitely put you to sleep. Anyways, let me go ahead and get some more cleaning, then we'll come back and figure out where we're going from there. Again, we're just kind of killing time until the order from Eastwood shows up with the paint. And then I want to figure out what he wants to do with the valve covers. Do notice it is a little bit damaged here, so I guess if it was me, I would replace that versus just painting it up, putting it back on. But there are some little bit of leakage back here with the valve cover gaskets, so we'll replace those. So either way, these are coming off, whether they're getting replaced or just painted. New seals, and yeah, fuel pump works, that's good. Still mechanical pump down here. I'd hope it'd be nice to do maybe a sniper setup at some point in time. I think with the bigger engine, maybe we're going to run into a fuel delivery issue. I guess we'll find out in time. But the sniper would also, it'd be fun to put in. Maybe Holly will hook us up with that, huh? Hey, Holly. Are you watching? Anyways, we're going to keep getting this thing cleaned up, and I'll come back when it's less of a disaster, and I'm sure after that, I'll be more of a disaster.
72 hours later.
Alrighty, well, of course the furnace is back on. Perfect timing. But let's go ahead, let's knock off the top for the thermostat. Well, thermostat doesn't look too bad, and actually down here doesn't look bad at all. I mean, the system had coolant in it for years, so not a reason for it to sit and rust up inside. So that's always a positive thing to see. Put our studs back in here for the thermostat housing. Let's go ahead and shove our paper towel back in here. Keep most of the nasties out of there. Let's move on to our water pump. 9/16 on these guys. Let me tip you down just a little so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, that's not going to be helpful. Maybe a little. Well, the water pump may have seen better days. I mean, the bearing is smooth, but the inside is pretty crusty. We'll let Darren take a peek at that and see what he says. All right, just sent Darren off a quick message about the water pump. Let's work on getting the rest of this stuff off. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts on here. I have to take this nipple out. I'm gonna grab my socket. Also got new nipples on the way, so if I can turn him out. There we go. Of course, that's not going to be valid for very long. Good catch. These bolts are different lengths, so I'm just going to take note of where they came out of so I can put them back in their respective home. Looks like there was more RTV than gasket used on this. Yeah, that was like all RTV and no gasket. Anyways, guess he's empty now. Go put him away. I'm going to talk to Darren. We've got the new gasketing kits for the timing. Maybe as long as we're here, we just take it off and make sure that nothing is awry, which leaves us with the fuel pump left and the crank pulley and harmonic balancer. So I'm going to work on getting those off. And I may need a friend for the big bolts in there, the nut in there. We'll see. But let me go ahead. I'm going to check on the timing cover and work on the fuel pump. And then we're almost going to be ready to wrap this one up. Our next video is going to be go through the paint process, get it all cleaned up, painted, prepped, ready to go. And then the last video on our engine series here is going to be the putting it all back together. Maybe with less RTV. Alrighty, we're back. It's been a few days. Last thing I want to do here really is work on getting off this harmonic balancer. And in all transparency, I did check to see if this nut would knock loose, and it actually did spin, come right off with my breaker bar. So I was a little worried it would be kind of stuck in there, but a quick crack and came right off. The last thing to do is to actually pull the tensioner or the balancer off, and I don't know how hard of a challenge it's going to be. You see some people, they do it, it comes right off. Other folks have to have the gear puller, and I don't really have a good place to sit and wrap on with my dead blow, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab the gear puller that I got from the good old O'Reilly store, throw it on here, and see if we can't knock this thing off. Alrighty, I've got just the basic parts here. We have a few, oh, wrong bolt. So we've got our stuff here. We've got our main bolt that's going to thread into here. We're going to use this to pry against the bar. But we've got 3 other bolts. There's a couple of different sizes that are provided to go in. And make sure you have a good grip. Which I apparently don't have on your harmonic balancer. Go ahead and get these tightened in. Finger tight's going to be just fine. You don't need to crank on them. Now you could probably use your factory hardware if you want. They gave us these, so I'm going to use them. Go ahead and twist this main one in till it's seated. It'll take a while to run up all these threads. So that's where your factory hardware, you probably could have used that. But if they're going to give us hardware, why not use it? All right, grab a wrench. Three-quarter. We'll try first without an impact. See if this does anything for us. Pretty much tighten it in. It should pull against these, which pushes in and grabs pulls the balancer off. And here it comes. And there we go. There's all there is to that. We've got a keyway in here. It only goes back on one way, so that'll be nice to know. We'll throw our bolt back in there so we don't lose that. Alrighty, well that is going to do it for right now. We've got more cleaning to do, of course. We'll take care of that off camera, but I'm going to leave things like the valve covers, the distributor, timing cover on until we are closer to paint. I've got some renovation or kind of reorganization to do up here in the garage before we get to painting this, and why have the opportunity to introduce other garage nasties in the meantime? So we're gonna cover this thing up, let it sit for a bit, do our thing around here, and come back in the next video where we will prep this thing. We've got a little more prep work to do, get all the surfaces cleaned off that are gonna get masked off and blocked off from paint. And then we will go ahead and shoot that Eastwood Hemi orange on here and see how it looks. So if this video has been helpful at all, you found it informative or a giant joke, hit that subscribe button below, whatever your reasons. Also share it out on social media, like it, comment. Am I doing something horribly wrong here? YouTube mechanic. So let me know. Add your thoughts and what should we do putting it back together? I know we've got a handful of parts behind me that we'll go through, but maybe there's something we've forgotten that you've done in your own restoration or you thought might be helpful. So let us know. Anyways, until that next video, have fun, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.